All right, young scholars. For 219, you are going to download the following PowerPoint that will look like so. After clicking the course information bar and clicking on that date, you'll notice for the class participation points for 219 that you're asked to either do or recreate the CSS lists touched on slides 5 and 6, or the CSS tables touched on slides 7 through 11, or the CSS gallery touched on slides 12 through 18 for your in-class exercise for those days. Once this recording is posted, it will be linked into the class lecture recording folder. And if you have any questions, you're always welcome to pop in to the Zoom link. So as we touched on last week, CSS, cascading style sheets, allows us to enhance our specific website needs, make it look nicer with different colors, text, etc. So the first type of code I've provided here shows you CSS height and width. I've dropped it into our WYSIWYG in order to give you a better understanding of how these work. So our max width here is set at 500 pixels and our height is set at 100 pixels. That means anytime we have that specific div text, it will be 500 width, which is across, and 100 pixels of height. And you'll notice here, the only thing impacted is this div. This div element has a height of 100 pixels and a max width of 500 pixels. Because the other two are header 2 and our paragraph. We only have within our CSS code here set anything to apply to the div. So only the div is impacted. Our header 2 and our paragraph have no application behind them. So there are default black text on a white background. I've also touched on before, and we showed this in class on 212, the different types of outlines. Solid outline is most common, but you can also have dotted, dashed, double, groove, ridge, inset, or outset. Now, these days, with all the different things you can do, like I showed in class on the 12th, with your different drop-down type menus, outlining your text is a little outdated, and you'll probably see it on older websites these days. Next, you may have seen the little icons that appear in the top of your websites when you visit them. That is more than likely done using cascading style sheets, where you utilize a script source in order to import those classes and those specific icons. So in this example here, we're importing from this kit.fontawesome.com JavaScript file, which has these classes that provide us with a cloud, a heart, a car, a file, and bars. Now, the reason these are commonly used is, like I said, see this W3 in the top corner of the web browser for this website? That is where these icons are most commonly found. They're set up. See how Blackboard also has its own icon here? That's what certain web designers will do in order to differentiate their website from another website. So slides 5 and 6 here provide you with an overview of how you would use CSS to enhance different lists in HTML. So you see here for our ordered list, we're setting up a background color. and 20 pixels of padding. And we're doing the same thing for the unordered list, setting a background color, setting pattern. And then for the actual list items, we have a background color, color of the text, padding, and margin set. And then we, in slide 6, set up what are inside of our lists. And again, I put this into our WYSIWYG so you can see specifically. So in our unordered list, we have coffee, tea, Coca-Cola. Same thing with our ordered list. However, you notice they look different. That's because for our unordered list items, the background is set, the color of the text is set to dark blue, the margin is set. And in our ordered list items, the background is different, the color is set differently, the padding is added. So you'll see here the padding added, and the margin is also set differently. And up at the top, the ordered list has its set background color to play off of the background color from within the list. Same thing with the unordered list. The background color is set to be a little darker blue to play off the lighter blue down here in the list item CSS. And you'll notice we put whatever we're applying it to before the brackets in every instance related to CSS. So ordered list, unordered list, ordered list, list item, unordered list, list item. And you would do the same thing with your P, your H1, your div, etc., as you've seen in previous examples. So next, slides 7 through 11 provide us with code on how to enhance our tables. So we're creating a table here, customers. We've established the font family is going to be one of these three, Arial, Helvetica, Sans Serif. Our width for our table is going to be 100%. We're going to create a border and padding. Within the actual table headers, we also can modify our CSS as we need. Specifically here, we're adding a background color. And then slides 10, 9, 10, and 11 put in our different pieces of the table. Table row, table cell, etc., as you've seen previously in class. So when we put all this code together, you notice here the table header, the background color green, the text color white, and you'll notice that we have it set up here to alternate our background color for these based on even. So one background is gray, one background is white as you go down. You'll also notice the hover color. When I hover over, it turns a little grayer. And again, these can be applied to all different aspects. So we've set this as customers, and then we can import and apply the TD, the data, and the TH, the table header. Then we do table row, table header, and apply various CSS code as we need. So this is another possible example. You could do same thing for your extra credit or participation points rather. And you could play around with the colors, the info in the table entirely up to you. Next, we have a CSS enhanced image gallery example set up. So we have div.gallery, div.gallery hover, div.gallery image. Those are all predefined and can be inherited just like you've seen with Java and Python. Same thing with .desk, .responsive. Again, .responsive, responsive. And .clearfix after displays our information based on what we need. And then the rest of slide 5 and slide 16 puts in our images with a little textual information behind them. Same thing with slide 17. So when you add all of that together, you end up with what you see here on the left-hand side. Slide 18 provides the paragraph text and information you see below. But once that is added all up, pasted in your WYSIWYG, you see this kind of display with our text below there and our image gallery here. And you see the border boxes around that we've set up in the code earlier here. With the border box. The asterisk here means that it's applied to everything. So anytime there's one of these, it can be applied to anything. Whereas in the other instances, the dot, responsive, etc., is only applying to that one specifically. Now we only have one image that's actually still up on this server, which is why for the other three, you're only seeing the link to the image source, which is this href, hyperlink reference. So that means that the image source itself is no longer up on the server. So you would go in and you would change out and put in a new URL, and that image would pop up just like so, and you'd be able to alternate between the 4 images. And then lastly, on slide 19, I show you how to create a text shadow effect. So within our style tag, we're setting a text shadow to be applied to header 1. All we're doing is making it a little thicker, 2 pixels, 2 pixels, 5 pixels, and making that shadow red. So when you post this into your WYSIWYG, you see 2 pixels top and bottom, but 5 pixels left and right. You notice how the red shadow is kind of pulling more so to the right than it is from the top and bottom. That is what our 2 pixels, 2 pixels, and 5 pixels is doing for us. Again, this is a little outdated, but some people still tend to use this on their websites to make it look a little cooler. So that's all for the 219 lecture. As mentioned, it will be posted right here in the class lecture recording. And again, you'll pick one of those to do for your participation points. You'll either redo the CSS lists, CSS tables, or the CSS gallery based on your interest.